Good afternoon, everyone. Right, so this is our official welcome to the artist seminar this evening. First, let me introduce myself before I get in on the program. Okay. Right, welcome everyone. My name is Abiola Adeleye, and I am the convener of Artist Hangout, the Artist Hangout. So, first, on behalf of Mr. Oluwole of Omofemi, the CEO, and the so you don't mind him, and yes, the one of the fathers, I would say fathers of Ibadan Heart. Yeah, so don't mind my voice. Yes, so on behalf of Mr. Oluwole Omofemi, I welcome everyone to the artist seminar this evening. So welcome to the space. Okay, let me give you a brief of myself. My name is Abiola Adeleye. I'm a curator and a creative consultant passionate about shaping conversations about African art and the evolving identity of artists. Over the years, I've worked with artists, that is from the Artist Hangout, and established events for artists where they better understand the value of their stories and how to present their works in the ways that attract both appreciation and investment. Through the platform Artist Hangout, I continue to create spaces where artists can learn, connect, and grow, exploring intersection between creativity, purpose, and sustainability in today's art world. So it is my pleasure to welcome you all to this conversation, owning your narrative, the new art economy. Once again, welcome everybody. Okay, so I'd like to introduce our guests to you, and I'll be starting with the very owner of the space that we are in person of Mr. Oluwole Omofemi. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce to you Mr. Oluwole Omofemi. A round of applause, please. Mr. Oluwole Omofemi is an accomplished visual artist whose work speaks powerfully about African identity, heritage, and pride. Born in Ibadan, Omofemi began his journey as a self-taught artist before studying fine art at the Polytechnic Ibadan, where he specialized in painting. His works, where he specialized in painting, I beg your pardon. His works are inspired by his childhood memories, African fashion, and the rediscovery of forgotten styles expressed vividly through oil and acrylic. He has participated in several exhibitions locally and internationally and is a member of the world touring art group Code Diona based in Italy. Omofemi is also the co-founder of Peace Unique, an art agency dedicated to empowering African artists and amplifying their voices on the global stage. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Oluwole Omofemi. He's very humble, right? I tap into that humility. Right, so our main speaker for this particular event, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce to you Mr. Ima Silva. A round of applause, please. Ima Silva is a multidisciplinary artist, creative entrepreneur, and adjunct lecturer working from a studio in Abuja, Nigeria. He is an alumnus of the Royal Academy of Art, UK, Lagos Business School, and University of Ibadan in Nigeria. He explores the subject of human nature and development as well as sustainability through abstract contemporary art, using acrylic oil and mixed techniques on canvas and installation. Ima's multicultural background, spanning Sri Lanka and Nigeria, deeply influences his artistic vision and work, reflecting the experiences of migrants and multicultural individuals. He has exhibited severally and curated many exhibitions, and his works can be found in private and institutional collections in several countries. His work was also accepted in the U.S. State Department into its heart in into his heart in embassy program. He is an adjunct lecturer at the University Business School, where he lectures on economy. He has also judged art, including the Life National Art Competition hosted by Alliance, the Institute in Nigeria. He is the co-founder of Treasures Life AGH, an art gallery which was founded in Ibadan in 2006 that has now evolved into an institution providing business solutions for the creative industry. Treasures for Life AGH is the principal partner at the School of Art and Change, presently based in Abuja. Imaus co-invests with his physician wife in healthcare through Afrobain Medical Center, Abuja, which integrates art for health programs through its Art for Health unit. Also, as a co-founder of the Initiative for Sustainable Development, an NGO, Imao uses art to advance global goals through public development and policy advocacy. He supports numerous projects to enhance community development and sustainability through art. After reading all of that, a round of applause for. Right, without further ado, after introducing our guest, I would like to invite Mr. Omofemi to give an open speech as our host. Thank you very much, Mr. Omofemi.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm happy to have you guys here today, and also having the presence of Mr. Imasiva here, all the way from Abuja. I think he deserves a round of applause again, please. I've known Mr. Emmanuel Silva for a very long time now. I think I knew him, from my humble beginning, when life, was throwing stone at me. And at that point, it was just, the only thing at that point was just survivor. And Mr. Imasiva was one of the instruments that God used, not only for me, but for the Ibadan artists at large at that time. So I'm happy that, he's here today to come and share his own story and make us to understand the importance of owning your narrative as an artist. So I want to say thank you for coming here today. And I know that just grab your pen and paper. I know it's going to be a very educative and interactive section today. And hopefully, if you have any question that you want to ask, after the presentation, feel free to ask, and let's make it a very interactive section for both of us, because I'm also here to also learn as well too. And like I always say, impossibility is nothing. Thank you very much. God bless you.
A round of applause for Mr. Omofemi, please. All right, so this evening is actually a Pakpakpa one. I'm a Yoruba girl, so I will have to infuse Yoruba in everything that I say somehow. Thank you. Okay, so would be diving right into the conversation that brought us here. But before we get into the conversation, I would like to give a brief opening on why we are here, like to give a context to what we are doing here. Owning your narrative. So I would like to ask, what was the first thing that came to your mind when you saw that word, owning your narrative? Anybody? The first thing that came to mind when you saw owning your narrative? Or you're just like, this is an art event, it's an opportunity, this is Oluwole Omofemi space, I need to like get on the program. You first when you saw owning your narrative? Anyone?
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, my name is Oluwatosin Oguneyi. So a visual artist from Ibadan. Yeah, I stay in Ibadan. So when I first saw the theme of this seminar, which states owning your narrative, simply means when you owe your story, you are the best version of yourself, your identity. You own your story. You let people know more about your story. Like you project that. So I think that is what.
Thank you very much. A round of applause for Mr. Putin, please. Anyone else? Any other person? Okay, in the absence of none, I will just proceed. The word narrative speaks to the way a story is told, a storyline. Now, it is your ability to visualize, to give visual expression, I beg your pardon, to give visual expression to your story through your artistry. That is the very way to value, that is the very value the world is chasing after in today's creative economy. Now, before you get to the point of creating, what are the processes that lead you to the point of bringing your ideas to life? Now, that part is more like a question. You know, everybody just wants to create. However, there is a process to which you have to go through before you get to the point of creating. So, are you aware of all of this process? Because it goes beyond simply making art. It reaches deep into self-exploration, asking questions about yourself and your place in the world, questions you may not yet find answers to. A lot of us ask ourselves, who am I? But have you been able to answer that question? Oftentimes than not. Like really. So today I'm giving you an extra question to ruminate over as we go into the conversation, right? As we journey into this conversation, I'd like you to reflect on this thought. What is the meaning of me? Now that looks slightly like it's different from who am I, but in the real sense. Is it? So I want you to just reflect on it as you listen to this particular conversation. I want it to go beyond you just here. I want you to experience it so that it will come alive in you and you have the understanding to put it into practice. So ruminate on what is the meaning of me. And without further ado, I would like to call Mr. Himal Silva to the stage to have the session that we are here for.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Oluwole. It's truly an honor to be here. My heart is full of joy. This is my first time coming to this particular studio. I've been to your house in VI, I've done that, but my first time coming to the studio in Ibadan, and it's particularly, how would I say, filled with joy because this is somebody who you've seen grow, not just grow, he's basically created a path for other people. Person has done in this city. I can attest to that. So it's an honor to be here, to be able to give this lecture. It's a very short lecture, but I think it's important. Drawing lessons from his own life and my life and some others who have been practicing for some time and have had to project ourselves in the international stage. So I hope that it will be useful to you and that you'll be able to take something home and also be an advocate of the same and tell other artists as well. Okay? So, as was said, and I'm an artist, a studio artist, I also lecture. on the creative economy, the business of art, and also on management. So, though being as much as I'm an artist, I also have to understand the business side. And when you start understanding the business side, you now start seeing those gaps and those loopholes that we all have to fill as artists. So that's why we are doing this. So it's been defined already what it is. Narrative is your story, but we'll go a little bit deeper, and we'll look deeper and we'll look wider at this subject. We'll go deeper, we'll look wider, and hopefully when you get back, you will rethink the very things you've been doing, you will start looking at it differently. Okay? So next slide, please. So the purpose is to explore how owning the narrative through a belief-based creative practice shapes our identity, impacts our culture, and unlock the new art economy. So one of the things that I have to use Oluwole because when I started seeing on the international stage, I went to go and look at the artworks. I went to look at the stories behind the artworks that were being projected on the international stage. And one of the things that fascinated me so much was the way you took the hair, the African hair, and you took it. I mean, I had seen people take braided hair. I've seen people take the one that they do up so much, but you took the nature and suddenly made it become a very fascinating thing. So that narrative was something he picked up from his own life, what he has seen, how he had seen it, and then projected that. But more importantly, I wanted to show something here. Impacts culture. Because you, as an artist, you are a shaper of culture. You need to understand that artworks are basically your references. But this is not the end. The end is you. You are a shaper of culture. So when you take subjects like that, it's a global shaping of culture that is happening. If you're in the international stage, you're actually getting people to start giving a whole new respect to something that you probably were not. So that if you start understanding yourself as a shaper of culture, of identity, putting value on identity that has not been done before, you can now begin to unlock other opportunities that people may not have unlocked before. And I used another word here, belief-based. She asked some questions, Abiola. Most often, the issue we have is that most of us don't first know ourselves, what we really want. Sometimes we end up not having a set of beliefs, even in your practice. So let me give an example. You see somebody and says he wants to paint the head square. I'm just giving an example. And you heard that the person sold it for so much. The next thing, what happens? You start painting square heads. Now, there's nothing wrong in painting a square head. All I'm just saying is that if you are on a trajectory, if you're on a journey, you wouldn't be saying, because you know that your story will find you, and you now begin to create value out of that story. You understand? So the word belief-based practice, so these are things that you keep saying over and over again. I just brought these four or five words to just, give you that appetizer. So next slide, please. So again, I had to use Ibadan because both of us have had our roots in Ibadan. And he's all over the whole world. Me, I'm in Abuja. I go up a bit, nothing compared to what Oluwole is doing. But there's still roots here. That's why I'm here. Because it's part of his story. It's part of my story. There's nowhere you take me to that you can take the Ibadan out of me. I still do for Amala in Abuja. I'm a constant visitor at Amala joints. That's by the way. But what am I saying? Ibadan as a historic city is a city of thinkers. Now, if we actually, these things will seep out when we start talking or when you start getting into conversations internationally as well. It's a city of thinkers, a city of writers, and a city of artists. Of course, you must have heard of the Mbari Club. who has not heard of the Mbari Club? If you have not heard, there's nothing wrong. Let me see your hand. So everybody has heard of the, okay, 1, 2, okay, 3, 4. Okay, I want you to check that. You can even check that on your phone while we're here. And the entire community of artists, writers, and thinkers that, as the University of Ibadan came to be, they started growing out and around it, and they began to influence not just Ibadan, but started to go to other cities. So all these things are on the internet. That's not what I'm going to focus on today. But one thing was very clear: they began to shape Nigerian culture in Nigeria. So what you're seeing with someone like him is another wave of culture, but this time not just in Nigeria, but it's now going global. Okay, so so the message is that great art can grow from any city with conviction and purpose. So don't look at, he said something to when he was introducing this. Everybody had myself, all of us had our times when we had to, survive. But that should not stop you from desiring to aim for the best, to aim for the biggest, the things you can achieve. So just to say that as long as you have that conviction and that belief in yourself, what happens is that that belief-based practice begins to have its way, step by step, gradually. Okay, let's get to the next slide, please. So I took this example of Oluwole's rendition of the Queen. Does this remind you of Ankara? So when I first saw it, I'm like, this guy is bold. He's taken what we see here. And I think you even gave her hair black color. Okay, she was younger then. So, shaping culture. Had the opportunity to paint the Queen, and was so audacious that, they got to go and do this and put, and the dress is as simple as that. So, you can't but look at it and wonder, okay, because I don't know if you are a fan of the royal family or if you had studied the royal family, I am not sure you will see the Queen in this kind of print. It's always plain colors. Am I right, ladies? Yeah. So he put printed. You understand what I'm saying? So sometimes we can be ashamed, or we can feel ashamed about, we feel our culture is this. But no, you shouldn't be. You should be able to stand up to that. And that becomes the very thing that people look at. There must be something in this thing that we are not seeing, So, understand the new article, and I just said this a bit because there's some of a shift from gallery-driven to artist-driven systems. Okay, what am I saying? So when you have people like Oluwole, what happens is that as much as galleries represent him, but that at the point he is in now, he himself is an institution. Am I right? He didn't ask me to come and canvas for him or campaign, but I'm just using him as a case study. All right? So what I'm saying is that when you start going on this sort of a journey, what happens is that you yourself, you begin to become an institution by yourself. I'm not saying you should not be represented by galleries, but what I'm saying is that you begin to have the power to even represent yourself to a particular degree. The role of digital platforms and direct engagement helps, and that is why this new art economy is forming around such people, and value is now being built around authentic narratives. So if you look at not this particular work of his, but his other works, you now start asking yourself, okay, which European artists are we going to use as a reference to this work? You can find out that it becomes a bit more difficult because he's taking us deeper and deeper into African narratives rather than taking us closer and closer into foreign narratives. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. So the authenticity now becomes a very strong ingredient of that story. How authentic are you? Look at your practice, look at your works. these collectors, they have tuned their mind to know authenticity. They don't need to check 2, 3, 4 times before they know something that is authentic, because they see thousands and thousands of pictures. Immediately they see a work, they can easily pick, what level of authenticity is this? So that's why you have to be careful about just copying wholesale. Or just you see somebody painted square head and it's sold at so much, now I must be painting square. It's deeper than that. Belief-based audiences. So what is happening is that also more and more belief-based audiences are coming. We see that in the art market. They want to connect with your belief. Sometimes they want to buy a part of you. The artwork is just their reference. Identify with you. They want to identify with your story. They want to feel connected to you and the things that are around that story. So it's as fine and as detailed as that. When it comes to connecting with your audience through your work, ask yourself, how much of my authentic self am I putting out there? Okay, next slide, please. So what it means to be, defining one's worldview. So first and foremost, you need to have your own worldview. How do you view the world? If you don't start from how you view the world, it becomes difficult for you to, if it's just something that they just gave you, you just accept it. But there's a way you can look at the world. That's the starting point. And now that forms your personal artistic philosophy. It helps you to start saying, okay, this is how I see the world, and this is how I want to, form my own idea of how I want to live as an artist and impact. So you're now going to, now this is a very important sentence, please, if there's nothing else you remember, this is one of those things you remember. You're communicating belief, not just style. You need to understand that as an artist, you're communicating not just the style or the technique or the medium. The medium, the technique, the style are just tools you use to push forward your belief. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Okay, so living the practice, what you're doing is turning lived experience into value. So what you see in his work is that he's taking, he told us why he paints women with bald heads. He told us that story. I've read about why he paints women with full hair, African hair. So he's taking out of his lived experiences and now he's converting it to value. So I want to ask, as we are talking now, when it gets to Q&A, it's not only you that is going to ask us. I will ask you a question. Because I want to know, what is it that you believe in? What are the things you are trying to project? And I don't mind looking at your work as well if you had time, even after the event, just so that I can also identify and learn. You understand? Next slide, please. Okay, please, can we go back to that? I just want to show. You can see again, it's different from this particular thing you used to do, Oluwole, is the one that used to fascinate me most. You know why? Because ladies, they always like to make their hair neat, right? When you come out, he would do as if when you wake up in the morning, but he makes it so beautiful that you fall in love with the hair as it is, as if you just wake up in the morning from your bed. So that nuance, like you call it, is something that he's passing that belief, his lived experience, he's passing it through the work. So you now have to use your technique to fine-tune it like that, okay? Next slide, please. So he's the first case study, rooted in Ibadan, globally recognized, central themes, identity, heritage, and their roles in the modern world. So if you look at his works, they have so much identity and heritage, yet they are very contemporary. I'm not saying that you should be contemporary necessarily, but it's consistent. It's rooted though in history and identity, but it's also it can be put anywhere. And people will say, okay, interesting. So that opens up a whole new set of opportunities for the artist, because it can be identified by a very vast audience of collectors. Belief-based message, celebrating black beauty and cultural pride. Studio as a narrative hub. So this is a narrative hub, basically. Because when I came in, the first room, I don't see any of his own works. I'm seeing other people's works. So it's a hub where he's promoting narratives, not just the one he was promoting, he's promoting other African narratives. Okay? Because I was looking at the images on social media before I was writing this. It is a narrative hub. So you're fortunate to be part of this narrative, part of this story, just like the Mbari movement. The Olufemi, Oluwole's movement is another movement. Because it's all these artists coming under him, he's trying to push that same, give him that audacity, you know. Okay, so next slide. So you can see that he focuses on self-definition. You can't be an African and not feel proud. Am I right? Seeing his works. You cannot. You will be proud. Because he puts the African narrative in a particular way. And ownership of cultural aesthetics. What does that mean? That is, don't be ashamed of your culture and the way you are as people. If it's dark skin, if the hair is like this, he's challenging you to take ownership of it. You know? Creates art that bridges local experiences and global visibility. So that's another thing, you know. Local experiences, but giving them global visibility. Is a role model for artists from non-central art hub, because I mean, as I move around the country, when I mention his name, more than most other people, it's people that are not from the big hub like Lagos. They feel, if this guy could be like this, then I can also be. You know, so that's still part of his narrative of empowerment. Empowerment, not like politicians will come and give a rice bag now. It's bigger than that. Okay, so again, look at this hairstyle now. It's so contemporary, yet see how African it is. Okay, so yeah, so that's the. So let's move to the next slide. So I use the second as my own case study as myself, because this is. So I was born on the island of Sri Lanka. I was raised in Nigeria. I came here as a 10-year-old. I've spent 44 years in Nigeria. So a life shaped by hybridity. I had to learn to look like this, but deep inside I'm Nigerian. You know, so I live in this case, but I eat local food. I was schooled here. I married here. You know, everything is here. So I'm telling you about my worldview. It's different. At the same time, I have how do you say? What do I call it? I had the privilege of having two worlds, to have grown up in two worlds, one much stronger than the other, because I've lived much longer here, and it has helped me to appreciate humanity now. In my own story now, I look at it from a humanity collective perspective globally, and that's why I say what I say through my own art. So I focus on human development, that is globally. What does it mean to develop as humans? And existential considerations, meaning things like, why are we here? Where are we going to from here? Those are things that I explore, okay? I explore themes of memory, multicultural identity. I feel that more and more, for example, you may be born here, but before you know it, you may be outside this country, either as a migrant or maybe to work, or maybe your children will go. So multiculturality, I feel, is a thing that is only going to get more and more, not less and less. So these are the things I project through my artwork. Art as a bridge between past, present, and future of mankind. So I see it as a bridge, and so for me to look at the past, to compare the present and the future, I use art as my bridge Okay, so this is my own worldview, my own philosophy, and this is how my own belief-based practice is. So this work is called Disruption. If you look here, it's this reddish color, but there's this teal drop here. Because what I'm saying is that sometimes we tend to relax and think that this is how the world is. But, through whether it's positive or negative, disruption can come in. And when the disruption comes in, how do you now deal with that? So these are works like that. Next slide, please. Okay, so I see art as social prescription. It's just like saying art is just like prescription. When you have malaria and you go to the pharmacy, you take a prescription, right? They tell you what to take. So I feel that art can be a social prescription. It can be like medicine, using creativity to connect, heal, and grow. I also believe in collaborative, multidisciplinary approach. I like to work with people from other fields, whether engineers, architects, lawyers. I try to work with different groups to understand their perspectives and engage in the public in interpreting and co-owning meaning and purpose. I'm very particular about meaning to life. She asked the question, what is... So it's very, very important to me. And purpose. Why am I on this earth? I come constantly asking those questions. I can't help myself. This work is it's called Vertical Cities for My Children. It's about automation, and we are now living in very controlled environments. If you live in a skyscraper, everything is water is central, AC is central, lift is, everything is so central that it's not like when we grew up in the villages in Nigeria. His house is here, her house is there. We used to run around, go inside the bush. That life is gradually going away, So these are all different stories from... Next slide, please. So I just did a quick comparison. So you see the root here, Ibadan. Core belief, cultural self-definition on Oluwole's side. On my side is more of existential considerations. Why am I here? Where am I going to? Practice, figurative, identity and heritage-based, more of abstract and conceptual. Impact, global black narrative, which I think the strongest narrative is that way. And here is mostly about sustainable development. You can see very varying philosophies, but we are only going deeper into those things. Going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. Okay? We are not because somebody painted a square head or a triangular head. No. So next slide, please. We're almost at the end. So art policy and so artists are, as I said at the beginning, you are shapers of culture. First, to be honest, you're thinkers first. These are just references. You cannot be defined by medium. You're bigger than that. You cannot be defined by a style. You're bigger than that. Yeah, those are the things that you possess. True, understandable, but you're bigger than that. You are interpreters of human condition. You have a role in shaping national and global narratives. That's who you are. You're very, very important to society. Now that automation has come, AI is taking over all these things, you are the people that can actually point people back to humanity. You become very, very important because you're the people that have the time to think about humanity. What he's done with his work is to point us back to our humanity and to appreciate people as they are, from wherever they are. Okay? And so belief-based art forms inform social, policy, education, and culture. So that will be social life, policy, education, and culture. It affects everything. You are very important to the society. You're not just people that paint pretty pictures. So my prayer today is to take you from that understanding that you're people that could paint beautiful, pretty pictures or sculpt beautiful sculptures to people that are actually shapers of culture. You're actually the people that can give direction in a time where machines are gradually taking over a lot of things. All right, so next slide, please. Automation challenges, so AI and the artist role. Automation challenges originality and human emotion. The machine is not emotional. ChatGPT is not emotional. If you start asking, he will tell you, I'm not emotional. You know, but you are supposed to be masters of emotion. That is what, when you see his artwork, is the emotion that draws you. He's communicating emotion through his work to you. And because of the emotion, you're drawn into the soul-to-soul connection. And then you now begin to understand who we are, that we start understanding our humanity, our common humanity. The machines can't do that. Okay? Yet artists remain custodians of human connection, meaning, empathy, and culture. This is who you really are. You're custodians, though. You're not people that paint pretty pictures and make beautiful sculptures. You are custodians. The future belongs to those who create belief and not just content. That's another very important. Please write that down. The future belongs to those who create belief and not just content. Not just content too. Next slide, please. So before you go, look at this painting of his. You can't look at, I don't know how he captures those eyes constantly. He will draw you into the soul of that person and to the humanity of that person he paints. It's not flat. The eyes are not even looking at us. You know. Next slide, please. The power of owning the narrative converts personal convictions. So you're taking your personal convictions, I'm rounding up, going back to the things, choices, and lived experience into creative capital. It's not only financial capital. This creative capital, you can turn to financial capital. These things we are talking about our humanity, of being custodians, of being shapers, is money. That's what I mean. It's creative capital. It builds trust and long-term consumer-collector relationships. That is what makes people run after you. There are some collectors that will just want to be buying the artist over and over and over and over again. Why? You know, attracts different partnerships. So what happens that when you start working in this thing, you start attracting all sorts of partnerships aligned with meaning and value. You're not just, a machine can, very soon machines will be doing all these things. If it's to paint, just give it the prompts, it will paint. But then, is the machine the custodian of culture? That's where the question is. Does it have the power to shape culture? How does it shape something that it is not? It's not a human being. Okay? Patrons see the artist as an investment in common beliefs. If you believe in Olufemi's belief system, you want to buy his work because you believe into it. Next slide, please. The power of owning the narrative. So the combination of beliefs, medium, and technique becomes a signature visual language. So your visual language now as artists becomes a combination of your beliefs, your mediums. You didn't see Oluwole running off to do sculpture in a hurry yet. Because at this phase of his life, this is the combination of belief, medium, and technique. And has become a signature visual language. You understand what I'm saying? It's not because he said here that his friend sold one sculpture for $100 million now. I must start doing sculpture. There's nothing wrong with sculpture. I'm just saying that there's a signature visual language at any particular phase in an artist's life. I need to understand that. Telling your story creates perceived value, attracting patrons' loyalty, media attention, institutional and brand collaborations. You will be seeing brands running after to be sponsors of your event, not you begging them. Community capital. What is happening here is there's community capital being built because it's become a narrative hub. There's power in the community here. It's building, and then the audience has now started becoming advocates of the artists. So we are now we will naturally want to talk about Oluwole wherever we go, because you are helping us discover and go deeper into ourselves and become ourselves more and more. It's turning practice into a micro ecosystem of opportunities. Next slide, please. So finally, practical takeaways. Define your belief. What do you stand for? That's the starting point. Root your practice in place, history, or future. Sometimes I know artists who put it in future, not just in past. Build communities, not just audiences. People pay for value. Use technology to amplify. So your machine, all the technology is actually to amplify meaning, not replace it. Amplify the meaning. That's what it's used for, not to replace it. Okay, next slide. I think that's the end. Thank you. I hope it was useful.
A round of applause for Mr. Ima once again. That was an awesome session, right? How do you feel after now? Like, how do you feel? Okay, so we are on to the session. We'll be asking one or two questions before I get back to the initial question I asked before. I hope we are still ruminating on the question, what is the meaning of me? It's very, very important to what we are doing here today, right? It is an ability for you to be able to digest what you came here for and then to process it, to be able to give out an output, like, this is what I have thought about, and then this is the result in my life. Because if you're just hearing everything and there is no technical know-how for how to put it back into your life for you to be able to get a result of it, then this is just another conversation. And trust me, it's another waste of time. And I believe we don't want to be here to waste our times. So keep ruminating, and then we have a result. Questions? You look like you want to ask a question. Okay, Oluwole, you introduce yourself and ask a question.
Hello. Thank you so much for that amazing educative program, sir. So, that's what I mean. Well, my name is Oluwole Adenle. I'm a visual artist, wood carving major. Well, I want to ask a question whereby there's a situation, a collector or a gallery is asking you as an artist, like Mr. Oluwole's Omofemi's work, why can't you be painting like him? And this is me personally, or in my own narrative, specifically my own identity, what people want to know me for. What are you? This is Kunle. What can we see? When time we see Kunle's work, what can we see in Kunle's work? In that kind of situation, how can someone help?
Well, I think from experience, I've had people, artists, asking questions about this couple of times. Like, if you meet somebody, say, why can't you pay like Mr. So? But I want to tell you today that every one here, we are born differently. That's number one thing. And we grow up from a different environment. What I am doing today is actually born out of my childhood experience where I grew up from. I grew up in Kotedo, Ibadan, where life was so difficult for me, where I have to fend for myself, I have to survive, despite that my mom was there, my dad was also there too. And creating identity is who you are and what you are. You can never be like Omofemi. You can never be like Mr. Emmanuel Silva. And the reason being that what Emmanuel Silva experienced while he was growing up contributed to what he's doing today as an artist. What I'm doing today as Oluwole Omofemi, how many of you, like he said, I'm happy you You know, I was hawking beer in the street of Ibadan. I was doing car wash. Those things somehow contributed to the way I see life generally and to the way I paint. I always tell people when I'm painting, I allow my emotions to control, to take in charge. So when you give me picture, when you ask me to paint, the first thing I do as an artist is to get to engage with the model, to understand where he or she is coming from. If you want to paint me, if you don't know where I'm coming from, you will not be able to capture the essence of me as an artist. So you, as an artist, I always tell people, your identity is who you are. And no matter how, the way we are today, if we are given a pen and biro to write a letter, believe me, our writings will be different. No matter how you try to copy Omofemi, you will not still be able to capture the kind of emotions that I will put into my painting. So when collector asks you what the collector are actually looking for, or the galleries are actually looking for, is you painting your truth as an artist. They are more interested in that. They are not interested in how bold, how big your strokes are. They are interested in you painting your truth. And what is your truth? It's being genuinely, truthful to yourself whenever you are painting. Don't try to be like Omofemi. Fine, you might have some people who influence you as an artist when you start. But at the point, you get to a point of discovery, rediscover yourself and start looking in the inside of yourself rather than looking outward. So for me, when you have that kind of, it's just a matter of time. Just be consistent, believe in your craft, and define the kind of life you want to live. And with the right time, the right people will locate you and work with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that awesome answer. That was really well rounded. All right, to the next question, please. Anyone else?
Thank you so much for the seminar, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Yeah, my question is, as an emerging artist, trying to create a niche for himself or herself, trying to grow, create a kind of authenticity. How do we reflect or relate to the new art economy? AI as well, taking over things. How do we adapt to the new art economy? Everybody wants to paint like obviously. Oh, Afrocentric, let's project Afrocentric things. How do we adapt to the reality that the new art economy has already taken new shape? How do we adapt to that? Thank you.
I didn't really get the question. I didn't get the question very well. Can you just, pardon me, can you rephrase it if you don't mind?
I think what he's trying to say is that, with the advancement of AI now, so how do yes, I think he's trying to compare the AI, the advancement of AI now, won't that probably take away the, the creative, like you said, art, the kind of art that we do, has emotions. AI does not have emotions. So I think he's actually trying to ask in that, how do we, yes.
Okay, I mean, when Oluwole was answering the last question, he said something towards the end. He said the right people will find you. The wrong people can also find you. There are buyers and there are collectors, and there are collectors and there are collectors. It's not everybody that is worthy of all your works either, or your works. So you have to also be careful, because this thing you just asked, I've had situations even in Abuja, they will come and ask people to go and copy. That is human being copying human being. Now you're asking machine copying human being, right? So people will still use the machines to do this sort of a thing. But that's why I said there are audiences and there are audiences. It's your responsibility to also connect with the right audience that values authenticity from get-go. don't. I mean, people come and ask me for permission. There are a lot of people I turn back. I'm keen on being connected to a particular audience who value my authenticity and my handmade, human-made art, because they too, they are like that. They are not interested in buying machine-made art. They are not. It's just like saying a Rolls Royce. You know what a Rolls Royce is, right? But you also know a Toyota Camry. Okay? A Toyota Camry is made by robots in a factory. A Rolls Royce is handmade, in the sense that they can take several months or into years to make one car, while in one day they make multiples of the other car. That's one thing. Somebody may wear a shirt and they say this is handmade, handcrafted, or just like saying Adire Ankara. Recently in a meeting, I was telling them it was actually about the business of Ankara and the African. I had to tell them that, look, we have completely undervalued our human factor in making this with our hands. If it is some other place now, that is why it should even be more expensive, not less expensive. It shouldn't be. So what am I saying? There's a premium on making things with your hands, by yourself, making it human. You need to look at it that way and not see yourself competing with the machine. But remember what I said at the beginning. Seek the right audiences. Don't be, as they're coming and say, oh, I'll pay you this. Of course, at the time it may be a bit hard. You may, things may be harder. You may want, but you have to be very careful. I've learned to say no, and it has really helped. I've learned to say no. But I'm intensely seeking those people who value me and my delivery. You understand? That's what I can say. I don't know if you have something to say. Okay.
Thank you so much, sir. I want to ask just to say no and with the situation of being an emerging artist, graduating from school, because if you check in your own section as a sculptor, after school, the challenge is where did I want to start? Challenge of space, getting up. Generally, if you don't eat anything this morning, you can't eat color. If you don't have money to eat, you can't buy paint, you can't afford things. Then how can we learn or try to manage ourselves? Let me direct this question to my regard. Like, how do you manage, try to skip through the challenge?
Thank you very much. From experience, let me put it that way, from experience, because everything I'll be saying here is, things that I went through and also that I'm also experiencing. Well, that is it. There are stages that are called survivor stage. As a young emerging artist, the only thing you need at that time is to survive, nothing more. It's just to survive. And when I started, I usually say it jokingly to some of my friends that when I first started that, I used to think like an Igbo man. An Igbo man wants to survive first before you thrive. So when I first started, at that point, I was not really putting much more value. Despite that I know that what I was doing there was good. But, the motivation at that time was not really the money. I just want to survive. And how do I do that? I don't overprice myself. I don't try to put unnecessary price because I believe that my best is still yet to come. So if you want to buy my piece and I say so amount and you say, and I'll think twice about like, if I said this now, I'll make more money to buy another color. Then I will do that. So at that point, at that humble beginning of your life, I think the first thing you as a young artist need to focus on is how do you survive? It's not how you will die. Because at that point, because I've seen a lot of younger artists today, honestly speaking, a lot of young artists today have actually priced themselves out of the market. Because you find out that Omofemi sold for so amount of naira, you now said, because we are contemporary. If Omofemi can sell for 10,000, it's very possible, but it's a process. I didn't just wake up one morning and sell for so amount of money. It was a gradual process, and by also working with the right people around me. Because I tell people, I also, when I mentor young artists, always keep the people that have the revelation of what you might become around you. The people you keep around you will determine if you go far or go far in life. Everybody cannot be your friend. It's not possible. If you are, like for me, when I started, there's what I call definition of purpose. I actually sat down and I asked myself, Omofemi, where do you see yourself in the future? And I was so convinced by telling myself that I see myself that I will be one of the best artists in Nigeria. Not only the best, I will be one of the richest artists in Nigeria. I said that to myself. I was so convinced. And people, when I said that, people said, how is this going to be possible? I said, impossible is nothing. That was when, I started using those impossible is nothing. Because I believe that if I can dream it, I can also achieve it as well. So for me, my advice is that when you should probably focus on survival at the early stage of your life. You need to get the visibility, and also because a lot of people think that most of these galleries, even abroad in Nigeria, they are not looking. They are actually looking for artists with identity. Let me tell you, galleries don't like to work with artists who are still experimenting. Believe me, or you take it. They don't like to work with artists who is still experimenting. When they go to your page, your social media page must reveal what and where you are going to. For me, despite that I can sculpt, I can do other things, you can't see me going to my put sculpt. That's a distraction. You can't see me going to my page and put tie-dye, despite I know I can do tie-dye. So these people are actually looking for artists who are very truthful to themselves. And when they go through your page, because for me now, if you send the work to my studio now, and you said you want to do this, the first thing before I even go and look at your narrative and everything, I want to see if there is an identity in what you sent to me. And if I look at it, I did not see identity, forget it. I'm not going to even be interested in your story because I know that you are not consistent and you don't have a direction. And the reason why they do that is that because if they look into your page and they see you doing a particular style today, they believe that tomorrow you might change to another thing. So the collectors buy more into identity rather than style. They buy into that, okay, this is this person. Have you ever asked yourself, how many, I believe that a lot of people here would know Kehinde Wiley. Kehinde Wiley has been painting for years, for over 3 decades or so. But if you look at his work, there's one thing that connects all his work, which is the flower. It has put that, it has stamped that in the mind of a collector. And when people see my painting today, the first thing that even though I'm trying to explore that things, the first thing you see is the afro hair, which is a symbol of identity in my painting. So I think that answers your question. Yeah, thank you very much.
I want to add something. He said when everything is like, I cannot eat paint. Why I said that is that I work with some young artists in the studio. For example, some of them they teach. I mean, they're art teachers as well. They do other things to survive. So this particular person, I mean, some of them have responsibility. Even if they're not married, they have siblings. They have. So sometimes it's also you may need to look at other alternative income. One of the things I did was, as I was making some money, I was investing in my wife's business, and I made sure that one took off. After a while, as a board member of the business, they started giving me salary. So that salary was more than enough to. And women, you give them something, you give them 5, they'll make you 50. Support them, give them all this. So there are different ways God will reveal to you what you could do that are within, like he said, there are phases. So that at that time, you will not be looking for luxuries for survivor to make sure that you stabilize in survivor first. I can survive. To now. So like the person I told you about, the artist that I taught to, this one that is teaching right now. After he started working with me, he 3 times his salary in 1 month. The first month, he said, "Oh, guy, I want to resign." I say, "It's not like that. Too. You'll be making this money consistently, but don't resign yet, because I need him to stabilize with this new sources of income before he decides to take a." He said, "They make me do graphics, they make me do this, they do everything." I said, "Don't worry. It's a time of, like he said, survival for now, but you plan and know how you do that." So yes, there may be other things for you to look at, so that you can pass through that phase to the next phase. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. From experience, you know, I think before your art, it is you. Very, very important. I think that one of the most important things is to keep a good relationship with collectors. No matter how beautiful your paint looks, how colorful, how big, if you have a very bad character, you are bad. If you have ego, if you have bad character, you are just bad. I have collectors that have started collecting my work maybe for 1 million a few years ago. That collector who bought my work 1 million a few years ago has paid me over 100 million for a piece over the time. And like I said, what these collectors are more interested in is the authenticity of your story, the uniqueness, the authenticity. When you speak, they are convinced about what you are saying. Not just you are trying to sell. Like I see young artists talking about racism, and I laugh. And the reason why I laugh is that I ask a question: have you ever traveled outside of Nigeria before? And if the answer is no, have you ever experienced racism before? So when you are picking a theme, a subject, for me, all my theme, all the story that I paint are from my personal experience. I never borrow anything. The afro started with my grandfather who wore afro that I wasn't paying attention to years back when we were living together. It was like 6-7 years ago that I started like, what? I could actually explore this. So in that process, I think you are the first. You must learn how to maintain a very good relationship with your collectors. And the reason why collectors are actually buying into your art is number one, because they believe in you. If a collector does not believe in you, no collector is ready to invest on you. And how do you, by doing that too, is also maintain relationship. You must, because when they buy, they are buying, because it's not everything that they buy that will eventually succeed. If they buy like 10 artists, maybe 2 or 3 of them that will be doing well. So for them too, it's also a game of risk, because if you look at the fine, people can buy because they believe in you. They are also looking at the investment wise too. They are also looking for a way to lock up their money. So if you come to me now, I always ask artists, if you say this work is $10,000. It will come to me that this your painting is $10,000. I won't have any issue with you. I will only ask you one question. Can you yourself buy the work 10,000? Can you yourself? And if you convince me that you can buy it 10,000, I will ask you that if I need a painting, if you show this painting for me for 10,000, and I need 10,500 in the next 1 year, can you add 5,000 and pay me back my money? Then if the answer is no, that means you are not being realistic with your price. That means you are not being realistic. I always tell people, if you bought any piece from me and you need money, you bought it directly from me, bring it back, I will give you your money and I will take the piece back. Because over the time, I've been able to understand the value of what I carry as an artist. So it's always good to have a good relationship with your collector. Let them understand where you are coming from and let them know where you are going. Through that, things will start, because they also want to protect what they have with them. You get, if you sold the painting for Mr. A for 5,000 naira, they now find, and that collector has actually protected you, and they found out that the same work, the same size, was sold to Mr. B for 500 naira. Eventually, you've destroyed the value that they hold. So it's always good to have a good. All my collector, we talk. I go to them. I call them once in a while to check on them. And even one of my house in Lagos was given to me by one of my collector who believed in what I was doing. So it's very possible. It's very possible to attain anything. So the most important part is to always keep a very good relationship. Don't let ego, don't let pride destroy you. There's one artist in Nigeria, I won't mention her name. I went to one of my collectors, and this collector was so angry to the point that the collector was saying that she does not want this art, the person. This person is a very great artist. He said he does not want to see. Because why? He said, and the collector told me that her character stinks. So you must learn how to maintain respect. Don't make small money now and start showing ego or pride. Don't do those things. Because those are the things that will destroy your career as a young artist. Thank you very much.
There's a Yoruba my boss will always say, and I think you help me finish it. Ẹni tí ó bá ló máa ṣe orí or something like that. Tí orí inú ẹ̀ ló máa bá tó.
No, àwọn Yorùbá sọ pé wọ́n ní ẹni tó bá ní oríire tí ò ní wàárí, àìníwàárí ẹ̀ ló máa fi borí ẹ̀ jẹ́. Ẹ̀ tó fẹ́ sọ nìyẹn.
So yes, what is it? What is it? So on to the next question, please. But then I want you to hold on to that adage. That's why I wanted. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Stars, for everything you said so far. My name is Oluwole, and my question is about how to deal with being an artist who doesn't do a common kind of art. Because many times we talk about painting, sculpture, digital art. I'm a string artist, and my medium is not very common in this part of the world, and it has been very difficult finding my footing. I'm not now going to switch to painting because it seems like everybody's running after painting. So how do I now deal with sticking to my medium, trying to tell my story and be authentic through that medium, and finding the right community, the right collectors for my work? Because sometimes I'm like, maybe my audience is not even in this country. Where am I going to find them? Yeah, so that's my question.
Okay. Well, from experience too, I think a lot of younger artists are actually missing out. And the reason why I say that is that at every point in time, as we are here now, we all need mentorship. We need mentor. If I ask you today, how many people, mention 2 people that you are talking to about your art. Can you mention them? No. Maybe just one. So you need people around you. Like I said you need people that have the revelation of what you might become, of you, is very, very important. It's just this part of the world, Nigeria, Africa, that we mostly stick into painting, sculpture. There are other form of art that you can create, which the world are yet to even see. But because you see that, because the idea about it is that the collectors are actually looking for authenticity. They are every day they are looking for what to invest in. I always tell people that if you have something very different, very convincing, that me myself I'm convinced, I can take it upon myself and start saying, this, because this is art, and there's no limitation to art. It's just that here in Nigeria we are stick to oil painting, acrylic, canvas, but there are other form of art, performing art. There are art that goes beyond the visual. I've been to a place in, where is it? Amsterdam or Austria, and I went to the place. The place was so empty, and I saw some pack of clothes, and I was like, "What's going on here?" They said the person is doing exhibition. Where is the art? He said, just listen. And I keep listening for like 10 minutes. I could not hear voice, and that was what people pay to come and see what the person was doing. So the most important thing to answer your question is that, which will answer other questions for younger artists, because you need mentor. As I have a mentor. You can't outgrow mentorship in career. As far as you want to go far in life, you need to have people that you talk to about your art. You even need people that are not even artists to come and criticize what you do, because they will definitely come from a different perspective. And most of the time, hanging out with artists at times are always boring. Yeah, you need people from other professions like a medical doctor, and just hang out with them. Let them contribute, because they don't know art. So everything that they will be saying will be undiluted truth. If they say this is not, if you look at it critically, you know that they are actually making sense. So you need that. If you actually want to grow, you actually want to be in the circle, you need people who are experienced. You also need to, like I said, the mentorship part is very, very important. If you are doing something that is not common, you need to talk to people. And by doing that, people that are experienced in that field can actually help you see through what you are doing and know that this direction you are going will actually be good for you in the future, or probably advise you on ways to get better with what you are doing. Thank you.
Okay. Any other question?
Good evening. My name is Adem. To touch on mentorship, I mean, it's a very important thing, but also I feel young artists, it's a very hard thing for us also to get mentored. So I would like you to give us some directions on ways to approach mentors, ways to where we can get mentors and all sorts. I mean, it's something that I feel all of us know that we need mentors. But then at the back of our mind, we're asking ourselves, how can we actually get this mentor? So if you can share some experience.
From experience again. Okay, from experience again, let me take you back to maybe like 7 years ago. When I defined the purpose of my existence, because I said to myself then that I was very sure that I was going to be a successful artist. Not only successful, I will have money. I was so sure that money would definitely come, and the money came. So what I did at that time was to do my research. You can actually have people that you like what they do, and by liking what they do, you can also emulate from their lifestyle or things like that. So for me, when I started then, I did the research because at the point I was confused as an artist, like, what do I do? Because I started painting children. What do I do? How do I break out from this market? And carrying out my research, I wrote 3 names down, artists that are doing very, very well. And I started studying them. I went to YouTube to go and listen to their speech. Yes, it might not really be efficient, but you need somebody to also, to always look up to, like, I want to be like this person. Now, by looking at that person, it's a pattern. Study the lifestyle, study what he does, study the way he speaks, study the way he thinks too. You get what I'm saying? So by doing that, I wrote those names down. And like 3 artists, I won't mention their name. And one of the things I study about them is that if I look at their work critically and I saw some similarity. And the only thing I can pick from all their work is simplicity. And I said, okay. So if this person is selling like this, that means he's doing something that I'm not doing. He's doing something. If you see somebody that is succeeding, find out, and you are also in that field, he's actually doing something better that you are not doing, or he's paying attention to something that you are not paying attention to. So I did all this research and I wrote those things down. And I said that I want to be like this person. I want to have this imagery in my. So everywhere I go, I keep having that imagery. So having meant, like I said to you earlier, like ego, pride, for me, I'm not that kind of a person that goes out. I don't want you even to know me. I'm that kind of a person that when I go out, I'm a very shy. I don't like to talk to people outside, but I talk when I have my, people around me. I can express myself from morning to night without stopping. But when I go outside, I don't want you to know me, because I believe that when I start living that celebrity life, it takes away my privacy. And me, I don't want that. I want to go to even yesterday, I still drove myself to Sodiq, need Yorumbe. I went and ate rice and ewa. With my micro, I never went with my Jeep. I went there and I ate, and all the food I ate was like 2,000 or something. I dropped 3,000, so I just left. I want those kind of life, because that is where my true energy comes from as an artist. Not that, because they know that this is some of me, I'll start having bodyguard or having mopo. I can afford those things. But immediately I start doing those things, it takes away my privacy and it takes away my originality as a person. Because I grew up in an interior part of a Kote Debado. So getting a mentorship, if you know somebody or you have somebody that you can definitely walk up to the person, approach that, I want you to mentor me. It's very easy to do that. You can even send a message. You might not get it at once. But like I said, every one of us here, if we actually want to go far in life, we need a mentor. And you can, this is Mr. Emmanuel Silva, you can have his contact, you can even make him your friend by sharing some of your work. I would like you to just, give for me, if I'm criticizing, we have different, mode of operation. For me, when I'm criticizing, if I criticize you, you might decide to go and die if you are not strong. But I will say it the way it is. I'm not apologetic about it. I will say, if I'm criticized, this is bullshit. Even this morning, when I called, we have an exhibition here next month. And, when I saw because they wanted me to help them push the work for an exhibition, because they came here and rented the space. I won't mention their name too. And when I saw that, I said, because in collecting, there are stages of collectors. There are stages. There are some collectors that if your work is not up to like 20,000, they will never collect your work. There are beginner collectors. There are collectors that when you send work to, they will not just reply. So when I saw the catalog that she designed for me, I said, And I called the leader, and I expressed my grief that what you guys, because we sold one already out of maybe 16 work, but still I was not impressed, because I can't even send it to some of my important collectors. Because by sending it to that, it's a slap on their face to somebody like me, who they believe that this person have seen this. So by going to say, come and buy this person work, it looks somehow to them. And God has given me one kind of, there's a way I see it. When I see something and that, I can tell you that what you are doing in the next 5-10 years, you'll be successful in it. It's not power, it's not magic. But because of experience and some of the things I've seen, in the global space, in the local. So I've seen a lot of it. So if I'm sharing an experience with you about art and how to go about, I'm actually talking from experience. So you can approach, if you have somebody you want to emulate. Maybe it's not everything. If you want me to be your mentor, now me, I drink. I'm a fadi. You might be a pastor, so you might pick some things that are very, very important, like okay, lifestyle, okay, the way. So that's how it goes. So if you have anybody you want, go to the person, send the person. Even if the person is coming to a place to come and speak, make sure that you are there to learn one or two things from him, and that is how it works. Yeah. So thank you.
Right. A round of applause for that, please. Okay, so I quickly want to summarize what he said. First, he talked about identity. It means that mentorship starts with you as an individual. So if you don't identify yourself, you cannot identify the person that wants to mentor you. So you look inward first before you look outward. Because if you start from outward, you will pick a wrong person, definitely. Trust me. But when you start from inside, you will easily connect to that person on the outside. And then link up with them, you start. Then when you chat or when you enter people's DM, don't go and say hello and then wait for that person to respond. Give them a full paragraph. Who you are, why you are there. So you don't just come off as one that just Java from somewhere. Peace. Finally, somebody has a question. Get up.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, sirs. My name is Mekabasi Efiam. I'm a visual artist. Well, my question is kind of peaceful. I will ask. I don't know if it happens to other artists, but it happens to me. The journey of self-discovery. When you like, okay, in the journey of, okay, how do I put it? Jesus. Okay. When I'm creating, he's my mentor and my boss, Oluwole Omofemi. There's this breakout that happens to me in my journey of doing my own style of work. I break out, like, I lost, how will I put it? Which word should I use? Focus on doing what I'm supposed to do. When I talk to him, the only thing he keeps saying that just keep doing, you get there. But there's this breakout that happened that I lose focus on work and everything. I don't know if it's just me, it happens to other artists. How can I like put I don't know, focus or like just get that same thing like continuously? I have a style and I want to continue that style, but there are times that I have breakouts. I just want to try something else, but when I try out something else, I end up doing something worse. So how do I like continue with my so let me keep talking. Mr. Hima, you. No, sir. I want Mr. Hima, sir.
Okay, I was actually going to say, let me answer this time from my experience. As you're talking, I was actually, it was resonating with me because, as artists, we can be creative, we can be imaginative. Sometimes we live in our own world in our heads. I think it's a general thing. It's part of how we are configured as human beings. But I've also learned the importance of discipline, of doing the same thing. Like you said, keep doing it. That keep doing it is pregnant. Oh. It may sound as if, keep doing it, but it's very pregnant. What do I mean? One of my mentors said something. He said, the accumulation of little efforts consistently over a period of time will give you massive results you can't even understand. Accumulation of little efforts consistently over a time will give you massive results that you will not even understand. You ask yourself, is it me? So what do I mean? That I'm in the same shoes. Even with what I'm doing, I have to make sure that I discipline myself. If I'm in a particular, I'm mostly an abstract artist, but within abstraction itself, I have different bodies of work. So in that different bodies of work, I can sometimes tend to want to fly and still just going fly. But then I also have discovered that in that particular technique, set of techniques and body of work, if I go deeper and deeper, I will find ways and ways of going into that thing that even astound me. But if I start flying, I will never start going deeper in that particular body of work. If I'm on a particular body of the first, the second, by the time I enter the third, technique has got even better. By the time I'm going to 4, 5, 6, it's getting deeper and more sophisticated. So there's a need for us. There's really it's like I'm just saying that so that you know that you're not alone. My sister, you're not alone. Don't feel you have a peculiar problem. You're not alone. We all go through this thing. So it's, but there's something sweet about when you discipline. You will even be surprised. This is what I do. I have a log. I write what I'm supposed to do and what I did at the end of the day. Just to discipline myself. What I'm supposed to do today, what I did at the end of the day, what I'm supposed to do today, and sometimes those little things that nobody will even celebrate are the biggest celebrations you can celebrate the little wins of your efforts in discipline and let it be between you and yourself. There's a level of joy you get by when people say well done, but there's a level of joy you get when you give yourself a well done. It's different. It's different. You need to learn to appreciate the well done you give yourself. Sometimes we wait for the applause of others to say, oh no, we got so used to wanting the applause of others. We forget to learn to appreciate our own applause of ourselves, of making little progress consistently. And then I also feel that try and put your bodies of, if you're doing a particular technique, keep them in bodies of work. And that way you know that, okay, if I finish 10 pieces of this, okay, I have finished this body of work. Before you start to want to fly, that 10, you know that, okay, I achieved this. Now I can document this. It's a series, and I went layer by layer, deeper and deeper into this. Then, even if you want to do it, by the time you come back again, even if you have a series, you have issues, you know that even if you flew around and came back, you continue with that series again. Second one, keep going again, do 10, 15, drop. So before you know it, you have different bodies of work, different sets in your own world of that you operate. So that's what I will add to it. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Oluwole Adifagbola. I'm a paleologist and surrealist artist. This question I want to ask is kind of awful when someone hears it, and it's kind of real when someone hears it also. This is my reality. I love being real as an artist. Whenever I speak and whenever I pick art. The question I want to ask right now is that you said something about value. That if a collector buys an art from an artist, it means that artist had a value. The artist has a value that makes the collector buy her art. What if, because with the way things are going now, let me say my reality. People really love my heart. Collectors love my heart, but due to financial instability, I wasn't able to go in for the opportunities given to me as an artist. They said they want my presence in so and so state. They want my presence so and so and so and so, but I wasn't able to attend due to financial instability. How will I be able to recover from this as an artist?
I think every artist must understand this. People buy for different reasons. So, as you claim that you are real, let me to be real. So, somebody, maybe if I'm 50, 60. But for me, primarily, if I'm buying from any artist now, I'm buying because if it comes to worse, I can resell and make money back. That is for me. I've not gotten to that stage that I'll buy, this thing is beautiful. This thing is this. This. Primarily, I want to make money. And if I see that this artist cannot give me money, I can buy something because I like them. I have a piece here that I bought from one, I think I have the piece upstairs. I think I bought the 3-piece for like 9,000 euro or something from a young artist in Morocco. I bought those pieces not because what he paints looks beautiful. I bought it because I believe I connect with what he's doing. So, young artists must understand that if you collect primarily what we have now, I can say 85% of people are buying now primarily because of investment. Because of investment. If they know that they cannot make money from you, nobody is ready to drop their money. Nobody. So once you have this at the back of your mind that, oh, fine, we still have some people that buy, I still buy something like, okay, I believe it. The thing might not even make any sense to me, but I just want to support. I just want to encourage. But like I'm saying, if I'm buying from a young artist today, unless the price is not, but if the price is something that is affordable, I will not even think about the investment. But if you are telling me that your painting is $10,000, I'm going you. It's not as if I don't have the money. I have the money, but I need to start asking some questions. That if I bought your piece for $10,000, can I sell this piece to somebody for $12,000, even $11,000? And if the answer is no, then I'm not convinced to buy. And I also ask myself, because I've seen a lot of the reason why a lot of young Nigerian artists are having problems today is because a lot of them goes with his friend and say, do you know that painting that I put on Instagram? Somebody put 1,000 naira. And you sold one 3 years ago for 15,000. You now claim that if you want to buy my painting, if you don't have $15,000, you cannot buy my painting. My brother, Ebi Makpaiku, Ebi Onga, Ebi. Because now, even my galleries in abroad today, most of them have written to me like, Omofemi, because for me, I said, whatever, any of my work that you have, don't say, just put it there. They say they can't. And the reason why they can't is that they have bills to pay. They wrote to me that, you know what, we've sold a paint now. I've sold like 3 years ago. I've sold 4x4 for like 85,000 now. 85,000 USD. I have a house in Lekki. It was a painting that I sold that got me the house. But now I can't get the same money now. It's not as if I can't, if I say I don't want to say it will still be there. Because I'm not desperate. I'm not desperate to make money. And the reason why I'm not desperate is that when I was making the money then, I was actually reinvesting the money. How many artists today who have made $15,000, $10,000 2 years ago can still go back to their bank account today and show $7,000? How many? So they invest in wrong things. They buy things they don't need. You get? So for me, buying art, it goes beyond this thing looks beautiful. This thing looks, this color. I need to be convinced. And like I said, like I was discussing with somebody recently that most of the older artists in Nigeria today are not making money. They can't. And the reason being that most of the masters, some of the young collectors that we have now, their fathers were collectors. So they grew up with their father buying the masters. And they grow tired of it. And they ask themselves that if I go and buy one, because those young collectors now are looking for money. They are desperate to make money. So they will ask themselves, if I go and buy one master now, you say so amount of money. If I take this person to auction, will I be able to make my money back? And if the answer is no, they will never do that. So in art, like I said, grow your price gradually. Don't overprice yourself. Don't try to say, because Mr. A said for 10,000, me too, I want 10,000. No, grow your price, grow your collectors. It's a process. Enjoy the process. Enjoy the process. And if you enjoy the process at the end, for me, when I first started, there was this commissioner. I used to say this story. When I first started, I had this exhibition in Lagos. And I think at that time, they were pricing my 4x4 for 350,000. And I asked this person to come and buy. It was a commissioner during the time of Ajimobi. He has money. This person has money. Yeah, come and buy my painting now. He said, anytime he comes to my studio, he said, your work does not speak to me. I said, just buy one, just put it somewhere. He said, your work does not speak to me. And do you know that this guy gave me $1,300? He converted the money to go and help me buy because me and this Ghanaian artist, to go and buy the Ghanaian artist. And he gave me the money. Even when I came back, he didn't even tip me to say, thank you for helping me to buy. So the guy gave me $100 or so from the money. And I was begging, come and buy this Omofemi. Please buy it now. He didn't buy it. And there was a time he came to my studio again in Dugbe. He wanted to buy. Because of 20,000, he refused to buy Omofemi. A few years later, I remember when I was in London, he called me that he asked 20,000 pounds to buy work. I said, I don't have work. 20,000 pounds, over 40 million naira. Because of, till today, the person is still living in regret. Because he had the opportunity then, and he failed to invest. Do you get? So I think I've answered your question. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for that session. We have really stretched this session, but because it is raining outside and we cannot go yet, so I'll give room for the final question.
Actually, not a question. But I just want to. You stated something during your discussion about the
that I had before coming here, and right here, right now, this is what I can see from everything that I've heard. Because one thing is important to me as an individual. When you hear something, the ability to put it to practice is the part that is the most important. You have heard it. It is an information that has come to you. But then, do you understand it to the point where you can transfer the information into a process, a step-by-step process that you can put to work in your own life? So I ask again, what is the difference between you that started this and then you now? You want to talk? So.
It's very good. No, it's an excellent question, even if it's 2 sentences.
Okay.
The 2 sentences. I don't know if it's 2 sentences.
A word is fine.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you for the very informative and educative session. This is huge value, and any of us here, we're not taking it for granted at all. Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. God bless you very much. So, from what I gather here, it made me see that I was not mad all along. Yeah, because the journey of art, it's a lot of questions, like you are confused, you don't know which way, you don't know, you're just in this cloudy environment, trusting you're becoming, trusting the process and everything. So I got layers of understanding to what I already had based on my journey so far. So I am more layered. My belief system is deeper now, not just deeper, wider. I like when you say not just wider. I'm grateful when you talk about the importance of understanding that we are like Midas, the Midas touch. we what we touch becomes gold. Yeah, we are the value. Yeah, we are the not what we touch.
Exactly.
Yes, that's important to know that we are shapers. You know, having the layer is deeper now, you need to know that we are shapers. We are the commodity. We are the commodity, and we should carry ourselves as such. We are not defined by style or technique. While those are important, it is mind over matter. Matter is important, but mind over matter. So having that for me is very beautiful. Then Omofemi is very good
in creating style. The thing is naturally deposited by God in you. And like I said, I was using my upbringing as a case study. Those things contributed to the way I think today, to the way I paint, and to the way my emotions react to colors. And everybody here have that same thing. For me as an artist, anywhere I go, I try as much as possible to listen to that environment that I find myself. That inspiration that you are looking for is actually in your environment. But because we don't listen, we do gira most of the time. That is why when environment, even everything around you, both animating, everything around you speak to you. But when you listen, you will get inspired. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay. Do we have someone else who wants to say anything? Okay. So to my next question, and I am asking the ladies seated there, what is your biggest takeaway from this conversation?
To what he said, I think earlier today I was with artist Toromade, and I mentioned something about discovering style, and he said that your style finds you. You don't find it, it finds you. So he was actually right. I think your style is within you. You just have to listen, you just have to figure it out.
So I hope you guys understand that takeaway. Thank you very much for that contribution. Any other person, please? You.
My biggest takeaway from today is that discipline is not an enemy to creativity. Because I also struggle with, I'm a very experimental person. And if I think of making a body of work, and I think of this style, by the time I'm on the second or the third work, I'm thinking of something else entirely. And it's not good for the consistency we want to give our collectors and our audience. Yes, yes. Like it doesn't give room for me to explore how far I could actually go with that particular style. And from what he said, I learned that I can structure my wildness in such a way that if I have this style I want to work with, I can say okay, let me do 15 or 20 works, and I'll do another 10 or 15 with another style, so that I'm not just all over the place with my work. Thank you.
Great. That's so great.
I also think that, as an artist, we need time to rest. Yeah, you need it. Don't overwork yourself. You need time to just go off the studio, go out and have a good time. It's not every time you have to see the end of the work. No. So I just want to chip in that.
Thank you very much for that point. I think that's where I'll start from, because I'm a believer, right? And you want to ask a question?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. My name is Emmanuel. To be very honest, I've been blessed because I tried to come and photograph, and apparently I've learned a whole lot. I'm seeing in today's conversation is that as much as you are in your art, there is a business side to it.
Yes.
So I want us to be very realistic. How do you protect the integrity of your work? The authenticity. You said a lot about that. You are trying to, you are convinced about your art. You are good at it. You are sure that, okay, this is what I'm good at, this is what I want to do. But here's the business side. You are not just doing this art for yourself. You are doing it in exchange for money. And then there's the demand from the business side. There's a trend kind of situation. This is what the person buying the art wants to sell. So this is what these people want to see. So when that struggle comes, the struggle of wanting to now, you want to bend the artwork a little bit for money's sake. And at the same time, you feel like, this is what I'm known for. How do you cope with this struggle? So the reason I'm thinking this way because I look at the photography industry. This moment there's a trend. There's a style to color grade. And it looks like that's what it's selling. So you're not just doing the art for yourself, you're also doing it in exchange for money. And then the struggle comes. You just see that. You just want to bend that thing just a little bit. And if you don't do that, somehow you are leaving money on the table. So how do you balance that thing?
Okay, sorry. Okay, so photography is one of the visual arts, so you're part of us. So let me come from a business perspective. I teach in Lagos Business School as well, and I teach management. And there's a saying that says that the first level of thinking when you're teaching business and marketing is that you create a product or service for the market, like you said. The other thing is that you may create a product or service that doesn't have the apparent market, but you can create the market for it. Or there's a market that you don't know about, so you go search for that market. So one is that you prepare something that is easily consumable at first sight, or as what seems common. The other thing is you create something that you know it may be a niche market. It may not be a mass market, but the niche market can pay for it. Then you can go for that market. Then what happens that sometimes if it becomes accepted in the niche market starts. That's what the luxury brands do. You know that those luxury brands, they can wake up tomorrow and create one design. One leg is short, one leg is long. Mass market will not accept it, right? But they will go and get 1, 2, 3, 4 people that matter, that are influencers to wear it. Next thing, everybody is looking for this trouser. That's what I mean. So, one thing I have found, okay, I will give the example in my own art. I paint abstract art. Most people ask me that, what is this? You know, they don't understand. So I've been in that, I'm constantly in that situation. So I don't really go for, I'm not going for the common market. I mean, even when it comes to collectors, I have to, like you said, I had to look for those that believe in me. And I'm finding them. And I'm selling in and outside the country steadily. So as I am now, it's even, I had to work so that I have work to sell. What do I mean? So if there's always a market. The question is either you're bowing to an existing trend, or you become the trend creator.
I will see people that will still buy because of some of the things I've done in the past. But if you today, you are coming with 2, 3, 4 different styles every month, nobody will buy your work now. They will see you as an artist who is not ready for the market. So all the experiment you want to do it at home, research about it, go deeper, like he said, go deeper into it, understand what you're doing. And after all the experiment, like I said, the most important thing is to also have a mentorship too. You can't do it alone. You can't. You still need people to come and help you assess what you've done, and let them also put in their opinion as well too. You can pick one or two things from what they said, or you can decide to ignore. But all the experiments, all you want to do, don't come to the social media and put it there, because some of all these guys, because at times I've seen a lot of young artists saying that we've sent portfolio to galleries and the gallery did not reply. They will not reply now, because in that portfolio you've shown like 4 different styles in the portfolio. How do you expect them to reply? So they will not reply. That's why they don't reply. And most of these people, they are going everywhere on the internet looking for the best. Look, because they also want to make money from you. So they are there looking that, we are looking for artists that is different. So if you see that you send an email to a gallery, a big gallery, and they fail to reply.
You can hear me. The person says, what if my story is not the one that people can is one that people can't relate to? How can I use my art, my story, to connect with the audience? The person's name is Faith Akimade. Her story or his story is not relatable.
The thing is, that is Faith's opinion about herself. That's her opinion. But I need to see her work. I need to be sure that I cannot be.
I also think that there's no story that cannot be related to. I don't think there's a story. I don't think. Faith, if you are listening to me, look at me very well. Well, I don't think there's a story that people cannot relate with. I don't think there's that story. I don't think so. So we have to know your story for us to give you, to agree with you and give you advice on how to go about that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I don't know if for a while you were not live, but then, Faith Akimade, your question has been answered, and what was said was that we need to know your story. We need to understand your story for us to be able to say specifically that your story is one that can be relayed to. Okay. Moving on. Yes, I wanted to speak about what my boss said about rest the other time. And I was pointing at the fact that I happen to be a believer. And in the story of creation that we read in the scriptures, it talked about God resting on the 7th day after creating all of you, right? So if God can rest, please, who are you? So it means rest is part of creativity. Creativity comes from the place of rest. It's not from the place of also jagam jigging, because if you check, most of the time when you are trying to also, you don't get anything. But when you are just relaxed, just looking at that person on the street, or just eating by the roadside, or just talking freely with your friends, something will just drop in your head. You'll be like, oh my God, oh my God. That's an epiphany at the time. Right? So rest is part of the program. It's part of creativity. So always infuse rest in your creativity. Right. To wrap up, I was asking a few questions, and I made reference to the question that I asked at the beginning, which is, what is the meaning of me? That is, what is the meaning of you as an individual? Now, one of the things that we also don't pay attention to as humans is the fact that questions will always beget questions in our heart. And it is not a bad thing. It is one step to clarity. That there is a question you are yet to answer, but then there is another question that is coming up out of that question that you are yet to answer, is one step to clarity. So even if the question, what is the meaning of me, has begat a question in your heart, and you don't have answers to it yet, that does not mean that you are failing. Or that does not mean, oh, okay, others are succeeding, you are still there. No, you are just a step into clarity. And then the more you keep asking yourself, the more you keep getting clarity. Because one thing about the meaning of us as an individual is that it is a journey, it is a progressive journey. Now, when they ask you for who you are in the last 5 years, in the last 10 years, what you gave as an answer is not the same thing you'll be giving as an answer now. What they ask you about what you do, how you do it in the last 5 years, 2 years, is not the same answers you'll be giving now, right? So life is a progressive journey. And we have to work it as progressive. Not that it is a permanent space. I have to have a permanent answer that will carry me all through 15 years. Now let's check. He started creating works, children, right? And then he moved to Afrocentric. And over time, is evolving. Despite the fact that he's still making reference to the Afrocentric, which is a signature, but then his work is still evolving in a way. So it speaks to the fact that our journey in life is progressive. And we have to take it as such. Not that we must have permanent answers to every aspect of our lives. I hope that helps someone today. Okay, and finally, what will you begin to do differently from now on? What will you do differently? Now, the reason I decided to ask all of these questions here is because at events like this, all of us are giddy up. Like, we are so motivated. We are like, oh my God, oh my God. Give yourself the next 3 hours. Give yourself tomorrow. Give yourself next tomorrow. You're done and dusted. You have forgotten. Life has started. You are already thinking about the fact that, okay, I'm going back home tonight. I'm broke. I don't have money for dinner. How do I sort myself? What am I going to eat tomorrow? Okay, there is one place that they called me for. I have to go there. I don't have transport fare. You are already consistently thinking about that. Now, in order for you to have something more concrete than what you got, like, okay, this is a step to the how of how you are putting it to practice in your life, right? This is just to help you shape how you are going about your day. Okay, so what have you picked that you do differently? What is that thing that you are doing differently, that you plan on doing differently from now on? Does anybody have an answer? Okay.
Thank you for the question. I think in a nutshell, like what I felt I'll be doing differently now henceforth is making my story reflect my personal story, who I am, to reflect in the body of work I'll be creating.
Anyone else?
Well, to me, it might be somehow funny, but my own is just to take some rest. To take my rest.
No, it's absolutely not funny.
Because that is just the truth. So, you know me very well. I work that I got exhausted until maybe I don't see anything again in this video. Then I say I'm free. Even sometimes I'll still take my bed. Then with boxer, I enter back to studio. I'll still be back and KKK. But sometimes I say that is just it. Just chill. Rest.
I actually did that when I was, I got started. I wrote that left as paper. So at a point, you need to relax yourself. And take a full bottle of anything.
You want to say something? Okay. Want to find out?
Another thing is, when we are telling our story, I think we should also shine light on our vulnerability also.
Yeah.
Because he was very proud of saying, of discussing some things that I think,
I'm very personal.
yeah, very personal. And I think collectors look into that also when they are collecting a piece, so because we put a soul into what we create.
Thank you very much. So in parting, right, we have literally come to the end of this event, and I am grateful for what you're taking home, because from here, what you're taking home is beyond what you heard. What you are taking home now, it is the technicality of how you put into practice what you have learned. So, which is super, super great as far as I know. Any parting word from Mr. Omofemi and Mr. Himal. Thank you very much, sir.
Be yourself.
There's more to you. There's much, much, much more to you.
Very big thank you to Mr. Himal. Thank you so very much for pulling this together. Like, he pulled this off. And thank you, Mr. Omofemi, for the support system. We are super grateful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, yes, Mr. Imal is the foil, and he took the vision, and I'm like, okay, let's run with this. And that's how we are all here. So a very big thank you to everyone who made it here. And I believe you made it here because in the question, I don't know why I'm making reference to this, but then in the form you filled, you pointed out things that really stood you out in one way or the other. Because a lot of people filled the form and they were saying things that were not making sense. I mean, it is important to know that as creatives, you represent yourself even with your writings. So don't just go out there and then just put it, oh, okay, why do you qualify for this? I know so. I feel so. Like, I feel so. That was literally somebody's answer. I feel so. You feel so that. It's okay. Do you understand? So yes, this is. So please, beyond one sentence, beyond, just do better. Thank you very much, and thank you to everyone. All right. We are